Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out the Eachine EV800D goggles, and the D stands for diversity. If you guys have been watching my channel for a while now, you'll know that I reviewed the original EV800s last year. This is a single receiver only, and I did a video where I modded it with the Eachine Pro DVR to give it a DVR functionality. And basically, other than that, it's pretty much the same. You got diversity receivers on the newer model, and the DVR is built in, but the form factor is the same. So take a quick look at the goggles themselves, and then we'll go over the features, and then I'll tell you what I like and don't like about them. Over here on the left, you got a charging port, and it comes with also a 3S charging adapter, so you can plug in 3S battery into this to charge the internal battery, and it also comes with an AC adapter, so you can plug it into the wall to charge it as well. The internal battery in here is a 1S, I think it's a 1000 milliamp hour battery. It's not a very big battery. It gives you about an hour before you have to charge it up or plug it in. The search button here is okay. It's okay if you're flying by yourself. It'll find your channel. It'll kind of goes through all the channels and bands and finds it. If you're flying with other people, it'll find whatever is the strongest signal and lock onto it, so just be aware of that. I find it easier to just use the channel and band button here to switch bands and channels. If you long press that button, it'll go to the next band, or actually it'll select the band and then you can short press it to change bands, and then short pressing the button will just change the channels 1 through 8 through each band. The source menu and the source and menu button here will go into the menu and also change your different sources. So you have AVN, for example. If you want to use this as a monitor, you can use that as a source, and then you can also use each of the individual receivers separately as a source. You can do receiver A or receiver B, or you can do both receivers, the diversity setup, as another source as well. Obviously, here's the power button that turns it on and off. Here's your micro SD card slot. I'm using I think it's a 16 gigabyte class 10 card, and that seems to be working okay. The button here on the far right does your photos and video. If you short press the button, it'll take a photo. If you long press the button, it will initiate a recording. The interesting thing about that is it shows on the screen that there's a little red dot that shows that it's recording. It blinks a few times and it goes away. So it was a little bit, I was wondering if it was actually recording or not. I thought maybe recording stopped, but it actually keeps on recording. It's just the indicator goes away. It would have been nicer if the indicator stayed on, and then when you go to stop the recording, you long press, and then that'll stop the recording. A little lock icon shows up in the screen to indicate that it's finishing the recording up. This is a typical box style goggle. You get a Fresnel lens here. It is not adjustable like it is with the VRD2 Pros, but this has the feature of taking the screen off of the headset or the head mount, and you can use this as a ground station. I think this works really well as a ground station, and you have a tripod mount on the bottom just like the originals, and this works extremely well. You got the screen's kind of recessed there, so it's got a little bit of sunshade, and I like that a lot. You got this cloth covered foam on here. This was already pre-installed, unlike the original 800s. They had to send this separately, but this is fairly comfortable. However, and I'll kind of get into this a little bit more later, I kind of like it and I kind of don't like it. It's a little bit long from the face to the front, and the batteries are right at the front, so there's a lot of weight on your face. Even with the strap all the way in the back and holding it on, you tend to feel it after a little while. If you compare it to the VRD2 Pros, let's see here, like this, you can see that the distance from the front to where it hits your face is shorter, so there's less leverage. Plus, there's no battery in the front of the VRD2 Pros. The VRD2 Pros weigh about 450 grams without the LiPo, This weighs about the EV800Ds weigh about 500 grams with the LiPo, and I'm not counting the LiPo because the LiPo is going to sit on the back here, so it doesn't really put any weight on your face. So for me, with all that weight in the front and it also being a little bit longer, so there's more leverage, you do tend to feel the weight of it, even with all the strap support, and you have to do this really tight. You feel it right here on your cheeks, and this is nice and soft, but after a while you do tend to feel it. It's not super uncomfortable, but you notice it. It's definitely more noticeable than it is on the VRD2 Pros. And additionally, the VRD2 Pros have the adjustable Fresnel lens. Now for this one, I didn't have any issues with focusing. The screen was fine for me. I think it was in the right distance for me. Unlike the Goggles 2, I had trouble focusing on that screen. But this one I had no issue, even though it doesn't have an adjuster on the side. So some of the things I really liked about this is that it's got a really good diversity receiver. I feel like this receiver is probably better than my Fatshark with the Furious FPV TrueD diversity module, and I fly those with 2 Emax Pagoda antennas. And what I'll do is I'll put a side-by-side recording of this recording from this DVR, and you can compare this reception to the Fatshark reception for a couple of flights I did, and I'll just do a little side-by-side video. I feel like there's less breakup on this one, and the video is clearer. Also, the DVR recordings are better on this one too. I don't know what software they're using in here, but the recording is a higher resolution. It's 720 by 576, and the Fatsharks are 640 by 480, and the bit rate's also higher. So this is like 16 megabits, whereas on the Fatsharks it's about 8 to 10 megabits. So you just feel like the recording just looks better on the EV800Ds versus the Fatsharks. So that being said, given the fact that I have personally have issues with the weight in the front, you may not. I'm probably not going to be using this as a goggle, but more as a ground station and to do recordings. And I think that I'll probably do, because I hate my Fatshark DVR so much, I'll probably be taking this just the front section here to the field with me, and using it as a ground station to record certain flights, because I just feel like the DVR recordings in this are a lot better, and the reception is a lot better than on my Fatsharks. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and roll that side-by-side video of this and the Fatshark setup, and you can tell me what you think in the comments below, which one looks better. Overall, I think this is a good value. You get a DVR diversity receiver, 5-inch screen, for an entry-level setup, well under $100. I think it's a pretty good value. Although for a long-term use, I wish that they would redo this configuration with adjustable Fresnel lens and a battery that's not in the front here. I think that would be better. Of course, then you're basically going to be getting the VRD2 Pros instead of the EV800Ds. So now the upside of this is that the interface is a lot easier to use, the settings and all that, and the DVR simpler, more intuitive. I thought it was very easy to use. The VRD2 Pros, the buttons in the front and the menus and all that were kind of wonky, confusing, and took a little while to get used to, and you have to basically learn it. So there's kind of pros and cons to both of these, so it's kind of hard to say you should definitely get the VRD2 Pros, you should definitely get the EV800s. The reception is about the same on both of them, I think. DVR quality is pretty similar, but the VRD2 Pros have the option to change the recording quality to HD or 720p, which is not available on EV800Ds. Additionally, there's been some issues with the power on the VRD2 Pros, black screens and such. I didn't have any of those on the EV800Ds, so there's those kind of things to consider as well. So I kind of wish I could get merged the two of these, because then they would be like the perfect goggles, lightweight, with all the features and none of the problems. But of course, that'll probably come out in maybe the version 3 of the VRD2 Pros, or the next version of this one. They're always constantly improving. So anyway, I'm rambling on. I'll go ahead and roll that little clip of the side-by-side so you can compare. Let me know if you guys have any comments or questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.